So a couple basically, or what we call parallel forces, uh, we refer to two equal and opposite forces which act basically on 2 points of a body, but they are parallel to one another. It consists of two equal and opposite forces which act on 2 points of a body, but parallel to one another. So for example, the best example for this is the head of a tap. The head of a tap. So you know what a tap is. So the head of a tap, that one that you use for opening and closing the tap. So you realize that when you're opening or closing, you will handle the head of the tap, and then this other side will be pulling this side, as the other side will be pushing the tap the other side. So you will realize that there are two forces. One force is applied on this end of the tap, and then another force is applied on this other end of the tap. So finally, you end up you realize that these two forces are parallel to one another. They're acting on 2 points of the tap, and they are again equal. So the combination of these two forces is what we call a couple, or you can call it a couple, or what we call parallel forces. So some of the properties of a couple are listed down here. The resultant force on a body is 0. So the resultant force for a couple is always equal to 0, since the forces are equidistant from one another. Then it causes a rotational effect, like for a tap, you can see that the tap is caused to rotate. And then the forces act in opposite direction. That is, if this one is pulling this other side, then the other force will be pulling in the other side. Okay, so basically moment of a couple, of course, this moment of a force is the product of a force and its perpendicular distance from the turning point. So when we are considering a couple, we take the distance. You can take the distance from which the two forces are from one another. Like in this case, you consider the distance between these two, which will be this one. So meaning that if you had to find the moment of each force, you get the distance, which is d times the force. So meaning that the clockwise, because this one will be pulling, because for example here, if you want to find the moment of a couple, in this case, you take the force. The force is the same. So the moment will be given by F times D, since a couple consists of forces which are equal. So the moment is F multiplied by D. So you can take D, you can either take D to be the real distance from here to here, or you can take D, you can, if you divide, since it causes a rotational movement, you can first find the radius of the circle in which they are rotating, and then you equate D to 2R, that is twice the radius in which the rotation is taking place. Okay,